Today's conversation is I cannot deal with not knowing. Welcome to the Functioning Overthinkers Weekly Podcast. Here we will discuss the healthy limits of overthinking and are reminded to not be anxious about anything, but to trust God in everything. I'm your host, Shanae Sadler. So today I'm going to do what I do best and provoke some conversations and some thoughts. And this one is surrounding the idea or the struggle of accepting the uncertainty, of accepting the unknown and learning how to deal with that. Living each day, day by day, it's a struggle in itself. We are faced with a lot of uncertainties from the moment we wake up to the moment we decide to go to sleep, whether it's concerning a global pandemic or the economy or finances or health or even just relationships. Much of what lies ahead in any of those aspects in life remains uncertain. So even though we know that we cannot tell the future, we still crave stability. We still crave security. We still crave control. We crave this because we know that even though we have to deal with uncertainties, it causes us to feel stressed and powerless. We aren't in control of our situation. And because we are always stressed about this fact, we are unable to live life in the here and the now. We are unable to enjoy and just to relax and to just have the excitement of new days and new things to come. We are always on the edge. We are always anxious. And that's not the way we want to live. The hard truth is, no matter how much you overthink and plan things out, you just do not know what direction life is going to take you. Case in point, just 3 years ago, many of us did not anticipate that there would be a global pandemic and that most of our plans would have been halted. There were a few of us that crumbled under the weight of this period in time because it was a hard time. It was a hard time for most of us. But then there were others that were able to pivot. Others of us were able to reap rewards that included working from home. Just 3 years ago, a lot of businesses did not allow us to work remote. And now that the pandemic happened, businesses were forced to pivot. They were forced to do things differently. And now that allows us to work from anywhere in the world. We could go anywhere, be with family, friends, wake up one day on the beach and decide that, hey, I want to work from home on the beach today if it allows you to. But it's just the ability and the flexibility to be anywhere. And that fosters that work life balance, that fosters that chance to be able to see your children and to just be there to cook for them, to not having to travel many, hours a day trying to commute from home or from work. If you're just there in the house, you could work easily and make a living, right? So a lot of us reap rewards from that period in time. All in all, you wouldn't have anticipated the direction that life took us 3 years ago. But being able to live each day the best you could and just managing the days as they come along with whatever little plan that you have is doing the best you can and just trusting that the next day would be better than the previous. And also just knowing that you're not alone. As humans, we are too caught up in being in control that we are not able to handle the randomness of life. But here is where true strength lies. True strength lies in knowing that you're flexible enough to bend and to pivot whenever you need to. There is beauty in that. There is beauty in knowing that you're able to wake up and be excited about the day and to just know that whatever comes your way, you're able to maneuver, you're able to handle, you're able to pivot. The aim of this podcast episode is for us to really approach the uncertainty as a strength rather than a flaw, to see beauty in the randomness of life, to see beauty in the uncertainty of life. Picture, picture this. Picture life as getting to know someone that you like. Do you remember the first time you've met someone of interest? and you've both like went through the initial stages of dating and uncovering what makes them unique or interesting. Wasn't that an exciting moment? Trying to figure out whether or not they make sense or whether or not you guys are compatible. Putting the pieces together is like a game, like a puzzle, and you want to be able to win in the end. Unless you feel like, I mean, keeping it casual, but even then, the chase of having multiple partners is probably what kept you going. It's probably what kept it exciting and living with the uncertainty of who catches feelings first. Whatever floats your boat. But the point is, the uncertainty of this new person makes it all interesting. That is what life is. Because imagine this, right? If you knew who that person was up front, like everything about this person, like every single thing, if you got the blueprint about this person, would there be anything to really learn or truly achieve? Because, of course, you would have known everything up front. Nothing would be interesting. Nothing would provoke you or poke at you or poke your brain. Like there's nothing to try to figure out because you would have known every single thing up front. That sounds boring. That sounds uninteresting, doesn't it? Well, for me, it does because I mean, there's beauty in trying to navigate things, there's beauty in problem solving. That's why there's technology. Like, there's things, and I mean, there's beauty in uncertainty and just knowing that there is something to weather, there is something to solve, there's something to fix. Like, you get up every day knowing that, all right, comes what may, I'm going to handle this. Anywho, that's life. Learning, growing, and being better is as a result of handling stressful situations. With that in mind, let's dwell on that and let's dive into how we can shake this feeling of always wanting to be in control. There will be ebbs and flows in life, as mentioned before. And one thing that we will never, ever, ever, or should never result to is worrying excessively. I know that it's easier said than done, but when you worry excessively, nothing changes. Nothing at all. One thing I want to really highlight is no matter how much you overthink and how much you tend to worry, nothing changes the situation. That doesn't change it at all. Can you imagine just being sad, frustrated, and feeling isolated because you're caught up worrying excessively on things that literally are out of your control? It's like giving energy to something that you're not even permitted to change. And because you're unable to change it, you even become more defeated. It's like a never ending cycle, right? I have been there though. I can tell you this, that I've gotten to the point where my head will feel like it's literally on fire and it's a burning sensation that I hate. I would experience migraine headaches from all the things that I'm dwelling on. And I tell you that I hate that feeling. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. It's way too much for one person. It's like so much going on in your head. You can't even communicate what's going on because it's like one big mush. Do not get there. That's not way to live. That's not healthy. And we're never going back to doing that again. Right. And even though we, falter from time to time and we go back into that state from time to time, you don't want to live there. You don't want to live in that confusion and that state of trying to control everything to the point where you're just miserable all the time. It's like counterproductive, right? You're trying to control things you can't, so you live in despair and you live in just sadness and depression when you can literally just learn to accept life as it is and just go through the ebbs and flow of it. It is very common though. That's what I want to highlight. This feeling of wanting to be in control, of wanting to not live in uncertainty is very common. And because it is very common, I wanted to highlight a few steps and things that you could do to worry less, and to enjoy life a little bit more. These are some of the things that helped me. I don't want to share it, right? That's what we're here for. Sharing is caring. So, step one, have your daily worry moment. Haha. Here, hear what that means, right? So each day you're allowed 10 minutes, just 10, to worry about something or someone. And after that 10 minutes is up, you're done. That's it. Worry not anymore. So you're training yourself to worry just for 10 minutes. So you're cutting down the length of time that you worry each day. Just 10 minutes. Healthy worrying, limited worrying, boundaries. That's what we're setting, boundaries, right? So doing this allows you to remain human enough to know that you're not perfect, but also limits you from going down a downhill spiral of just things you can't control and worry and despair and depression and sadness. Yeah. 10 minutes. Step two, journal your emotions. So once you have taken your 10 minutes to freak out about whatever it is, gather yourself, write it all down, and write it out until you feel like you have released it. One way of releasing for overthinkers is to either talk about it or write about it. But I want you guys to get into the habit of writing about it, because that way you can look back months later and see the things that you've overcame or that you have achieved. So it's a good way to kind of look back where you were and where you're now at, and to accept or to celebrate the small wins, right? The things that you have achieved over that period of time. Step three, right? Let it go. So after you have had your 10 minutes and you've released it out there, do not talk about it again. Let it go. Let it go. Move on, and let God handle the rest. There's nothing left for you to do. And you have done your part in worrying and trying to figure it out. Now that you figure that you can't figure it out, you just let it be. Dwell in the fact that you have handled it the best way you can, and now you have moved on and you're accepting things the way it is, and you're just going to go with the ebbs and the flows of life. Now, one thing I want to make very, very, very clear. I have used the word accept multiple times, and I want to explain what that means. Accepting something does not mean that you haven't tried or that you are defeated about the result of something. What does that mean? If you are, for example, going through a tough financial situation and you know that you are saving aggressively towards something and you don't have enough money to go out and to party and to go brunching and whatever it is, you're accepting the fact that you're in a situation right now, you're in a season right now that you don't have that overflow to spend on things that you want to spend on. But that doesn't mean that you're defeated by that fact. It's just meaning that you are accepting and knowing that this is your season to cut back. Next season, it will be time to spend because you would have settled all your debts, handled all your priorities. So now you have the overflow to spend on things that you would like. So accepting and coming in agreement to your constraints and things that are limiting you in that season doesn't mean that you are defeated by it and you will forever live under the shadow of that constraint. That's not what I mean. Accepting that you cannot change a situation doesn't mean that you didn't try to think of solutions or you didn't plan out a solution to conquer whatever, situation it is. It's just knowing that once you've given it your all and once you've given it a good thinking through and you realize that this is not your battle to fight, living with knowing that you're leaving it alone is strength enough to leave it alone. It's not you feeling defeated. It's not you feeling like you didn't try. No, it's beauty in just accepting that, hey, this is not my battle to fight. I'm leaving it alone. That's what I mean when I say learning to accept. All right. So now that you've had the steps in how to handle excessive worrying and how to piece it together. The next thing is having a mindset shift. That is it. Knowing that one, you're worrying and how to handle worry is different, because if you have the same mindset channeling your mind every single day, that means you're going to fall back into the constant worrying eventually. So we have to change our mindset. That's where the biggest part of the puzzle is, right? There are some cognitive distortions that have become so automatic in the way we think or function because we have adapted it through life's experiences. And these are things that we really need to let go of. Here are a few mindset shifts that we need to change as we journey through accepting uncertainty, right? First one being the idea that it is all or nothing. This stems from perfectionism, thinking that life is either black or white, and it's the precipice of being unfair to yourself because you think that it's either perfect or you're a failure. There's no in between. And that's not good, right? We don't want to do that to ourselves. That's a lot of weight. That's a lot of pressure. And when you have a lot of pressure, it forms into other things that's a whole other episode. So secondly, overgeneralization. Accepting defeat because something didn't go your way the first time and using it to determine that it will never happen again. Yeah, no. Just like applying for a job and then thinking that because you were rejected from, let's say, Microsoft, that you will never be accepted into working at Adobe. So you overgeneralize your mishaps and you think that because it happened once, that it will always happen again. Third thing to stop doing is catastrophizing. That word is very hard to say. But it essentially means that you're always thinking of the worst case scenario. So, like if someone told you that you need to be better at doing something, you immediately assume the worst. You assume that they hate you and they don't want to see you thrive and they're holding you back. Or if it's at your job, you think that they're going to fire you immediately. Like you just think of the worst things in life, like so dramatic, the extreme cases of things. And yeah, not way to live. The fourth and the last one I want to highlight is labeling your shortcomings. So, as I mentioned earlier, for example, having a financial issue at a point in time in your life and knowing that you are working towards something, but because someone always asks you to go out and because you never have the money for that overflow, you consider yourself poor and you label yourself as being poor. Don't do that. You're labeling yourself based on a season in your life. You don't want to label yourself as that and speak that over your life, because once you start speaking that over your life, you become what you say. You become what you pour into yourself. And just be careful with doing that. But all in all, just to say that these are different things that we have adapted over life's journey because of things that happen, right? And we have these cognitive distortions that winds up being a worrying, excessive kind of ordeal where we are just constantly living in not being able to handle uncertainty, not being able to handle life's randomness, and crumbling under the pressures of life when things don't go our way, right? So even though that there are different tools that I've mentioned before that will help us to handle uncertainty, we can for sure say that the biggest piece of it is learning how to change our mindset and how we operate mentally, learning to act in mindfulness. Yes, mindfulness will help us to ground ourselves and to see life through a different lens. Life is beautiful. Life is beautiful, man. Even with the ebbs and the flows, we should start to appreciate life because there's so much opportunities day to day, and there's so much joy that we can experience that even with the downside to life, we can experience great joy. We can experience great happiness. There is so much to unpack, and to just having to focus on the negative day to day is not something that allows us to see the greatness in life itself. Well, thank you for tuning into this message. I do hope that you have received from it and that there was something that resonated with you. Don't forget to subscribe and to leave a review to let me know what resonated with you the most. Next week, we are going to dive into the conversation. I feel like an imposter, which will be a segue from this conversation. Until next time, stay functioning. You are bomb.com. Bye.